So I've always been doing some form of meditation. When I hit 50, a lot of things I started to reflect on in life.
Ask me about a man who turned a basement DJ setup in Southwest Atlanta into a global earthquake. Ask me about a voice so loud it became an instrument. Yeah, okay, what? And a vision so sharp it carved a brand out of pure energy. And I'll show you Lil Jon. This is the life behind the shades. The kid with turntables and audacity, the hitmaker who rewired radio, the mogul who turned hype into equity, and the father who kept reinventing when the world thought the volume had peaked. Welcome to the story of Lil Jon. Louder, smarter, and more legendary than you ever imagined. Starting from the very beginning, Jonathan H. Smith was born on January 17, 1971, in the pulsing heart of Atlanta, Georgia, long before his voice would shake dance floors far beyond the city limits. Growing up in Southwest Atlanta as the eldest of 5, he lived in a home where discipline stretched across daily life like a tightly drawn drumhead. His father, an aerospace engineer and military veteran, and his mother, serving in the military medical field, built a foundation of duty that 3 of his younger siblings later echoed. Even within that structure, Jonathan followed his own rhythm, devouring books with the quick pace of snare rolls and driven by curiosity that beat like a private metronome. His world broadened at Beecher Hills Elementary and Southwest Middle School, where he bonded with Robert McDowell, Dwayne Emperor Searcy, and Vince Phillips. They weren't united by music at first, but by skateboarding, carving Atlanta sidewalks like artists etching their mark in concrete. Hours spent working at Skate Escape soaked him in punk-tinged freedom that seeped into his imagination like ink swirling through water. By Frederick Douglass High School, rhythm had fused to him like a second skin. He joined the marching band, sharpening discipline while concerts by Agent Orange and Red Hot Chili Peppers jolted him awake with sound as wild as live electricity. In bedrooms and backrooms across the neighborhood, he began DJing, blending records until beats sparked like dry timber catching flame. House parties became his classrooms, turntables his teachers. Even a brief attempt at computer science at St. Joseph's University couldn't break music's gravitational pull. He returned to the decks where he truly belonged. At home, he stood at the front of a 5-sibling household with some accounts naming Chris and Willie among his brothers. While 3 younger siblings followed the family's military path, Jonathan followed the call of rhythm instead. Piece by piece, Atlanta shaped him, its skate scene fueling freedom, the band instilling discipline, and home life strengthening resilience. The city molded him like clay on a wheel, carving the grooves that would define his future sound. He was a reader, a skater, a band kid, and a rising DJ, unlikely ingredients destined to ignite Southern hip-hop. Lil Jon's professional journey began in Atlanta's buzzing nightclub scene, where he first made a name for himself as Lil Jon the DJ, electrifying crowds with his high-energy sets. His talent behind the turntables caught the attention of Jermaine Dupri, who brought him into So-So Def Records as an executive in A&R. There, he refined his production skills and worked with artists such as Usher, Too Short, Xscape, and Total, gaining a deeper command of the music-making process. His transition from DJ to pioneering artist accelerated when he formed Lil Jon and the East Side Boyz in 1995 with Big Sam and Lil Bo. Their early hit, Who You Wit, marked the emergence of the Crunk sound, and the group's independent hustle earned them substantial sales even before major label backing. Their impact exploded with the release of Kings of Crunk in 2002, powered by Get Low, which shot to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and propelled the album to multi-platinum success. This era solidified Lil Jon as the king of crunk, bringing Southern hip-hop to national prominence. Lil Jon's momentum continued with the 2004 release of Crunk Juice, featuring chart-dominating tracks and his iconic collaboration, Yeah, with Usher and Ludacris. The song earned a Grammy Award for Best Rap Album/Sung Performance, marking one of the high points of his career. He also produced major hits like Goodies, Salt Shaker, Cyclone, Freak a Leak, and Damn, further shaping the sound of the early 2000s. Refusing to be confined to one genre, Lil Jon reinvented his impact with the 2013 global smash Turn Down for What alongside DJ Snake. The track went 8 times platinum, won a Billboard Music Award, and amassed over 1 billion views on YouTube, proof that his energy could electrify both hip-hop and EDM audiences. His achievements continued to accumulate: multiple Billboard Music Awards, 8 #1 singles on the Rhythmic chart, and recognition in 2016 as one of the top Billboard Music Award winners of all time, securing his legacy as a defining force in modern music. Beyond producing and performing, Lil Jon expanded his reach through BME recordings, voice acting in MTV's Volcano High, and memorable media appearances. His live shows became legendary for their explosive energy, transforming clubs and festivals into unforgettable crowd-charged spectacles. Even today, Lil Jon remains a cultural powerhouse, a creator whose sound reshaped the early 2000s and whose influence still reverberates across hip-hop, EDM, and global party culture. Now, let's get into something a bit more interesting, the money and where it comes from. Lil Jon isn't just a voice that can shake a stadium. He's a financial force whose wealth hits with the same punch as his ad-libs. His fortune, sitting at around $30 million, is the result of years of sharp decisions, diversified income, and relentless grind. This isn't money born from a single hit. It's a mosaic of music mastery, business instinct, and evolution. His rise began with multi-platinum sales, production royalties, and the worldwide explosion of Crunk. Tracks like Get Low and Yeah didn't just top charts. They built a royalty river that still flows, with his 2000s catalog alone generating tens of millions across sales, downloads, and streams. But Jon didn't stop once the beats faded. He turned nightlife into a financial engine, earning $40,000 to $100,000 per show as a global DJ, pulling in over $1 million a year from performances alone. His sets became income machines, as reliable as a heartbeat, proving he could command a room from behind the decks just as powerfully as on the mic. Then came the business moves, strategic, loud, and on brand. He profited through licensing and merchandise, from energy drinks to Crunk-themed apparel. Television appearances, including Celebrity Apprentice, added fresh visibility and new revenue streams. And with Little Jonathan Winery, he proved he could turn hype into heritage, building a luxury product line that expanded his financial footprint. Yet one of his smartest plays remained far from the studio lights. Real estate, owning properties in Atlanta and Los Angeles, and flipping homes for profit, he built a foundation as solid as concrete, an income pillar that doesn't depend on trends or chart positions. Then came the explosion no one expected. Turned down for what? The 2013 EDM nuke with DJ Snake didn't just revive his career, it blasted his earnings skyward. The track went 8 times platinum, won a Billboard Music Award, and soared past 1 billion YouTube views, unleashing a flood of royalties and licensing checks that still haven't slowed. What makes Lil Jon's financial story even more powerful is how he wove all of this together. Instead of depending on one lane, he built a web of income streams: music, performance, branding, real estate, television, each one supporting the next like links in a steel chain. So yes, he may be the king of Crunk, but he's also something bigger, a self-made mogul whose money moves hit just as hard as his music. Now let's step away from the music and into something more intimate, where Lil Jon rests his crown. His success doesn't just thunder through clubs, it rises from brick, stone, and Georgia sunlight. His Alpharetta home stands like a monument to a career built on volume and velocity, a place that feels as bold as the sound that made him a legend. He planted himself there in October 2005, paying $1.225 million for the estate, setting down roots just north of the city that raised him. Spread across 4,348 square feet, the property feels like a modern southern manor. 4 bedrooms, 5.5 bathrooms, and stately brick and stone walls that hold their ground like a fortress for Crunk royalty. Built in 2001 and set on 1.23 acres, the estate sits in an upscale pocket of Georgia where the king of Crunk carved out a home as commanding as his voice. Inside, luxury and warmth blend like a well-layered track. Hardwood floors glide underfoot like polished vinyl, and 3 fireplaces glow through the rooms, soft, golden, and rhythmic, as if mimicking the steady thump of bass. Sunlight floods the living room as if hitting its cue, while the open, elegant kitchen stands ready for family meals, late-night brainstorming, or spontaneous bursts of creative energy. Even the dining room seems to pulse with celebration, its walls echoing the spirit of a man who built a genre meant to make people move. Step outside and the house keeps performing. The backyard unfolds into wide green lawns and a curved resort-style pool, the kind of space where summer feels louder, brighter, and alive, like one of his tracks blasting under open sky. But tucked deeper into the property is the real surprise, a tiny recording studio / guest house, a hidden creative bunker designed to mirror the mansion itself. At about 550 square feet, split between a 400 square foot studio and a 150 square foot kitchen / bathroom linked by an 8-foot breezeway, it sits in the backyard like a miniature fortress, perfect for late night sparks and explosive ideas. Over time, the estate's value has risen, now estimated near $1.79 million, a testament not just to the market, but to the gravity Lil Jon brings to any space he occupies. Next, the cars. When Lil Jon arrives anywhere, the atmosphere shifts, like the drop right before a chorus hits. And although he keeps his personal garage hidden from the spotlight, one ride has unmistakably shared the stage with him: the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid, the SUV he showcased in Hyundai's national campaign. He didn't just appear in the ad, he embraced it. In interviews tied to the rollout, he praised the Palisade's comfort and reliability, sealing the endorsement with his signature, booming, "Okay." a natural match for Hyundai's OK Hyundai theme, and the numbers only amplify its presence. A starting price around $44,160 to $45,760, with premium trims climbing to about $58,780. A 329 horsepower hybrid system and over 600 miles of estimated range. A blend of practicality and endurance, built for long tours and late-night drives. So while we don't have photos of him stepping out of supercars, we do have the vehicle he has publicly ridden in and promoted nationwide, an SUV that glides under his brand like a low, steady baseline, the 2026 Hyundai Palisade Hybrid, priced smart and built for miles between studios and stages. His tastes stretch well beyond cars and mansions. They flash in a grin, ring from a glass, hush a VIP room, and linger in the quiet he sells after the bass dies. First, the flash. A platinum and diamond grille, a reported approximately $50,000 mouthful of light from the 2000s, turning every yeah into a spark that punctuates the room. Then the silhouette. Oakley signature shades with his name in the temples. Limited runs that once sat near $160 MSRP and still trade around $179 on resale. Proof his eyewear moves like a collectible as easily as he moves a crowd. He doesn't just wear luxury, he builds it. He pulled Crunk off wax and into the beverage aisle with Crunk. Energy in 2004 alongside Grey Goose architect Sidney Frank. By 2007, the brand's assets shifted to Solvay Brands, with Jon staying on as chief brand advisor, equity that keeps paying after last call. Cut to California, Little Jonathan Winery, his label His Pour, registered out of Laguna Hills and indexed on wine trade directories. Less about listing a bottle price than owning the toast, the moment, and the room. Before the main drop, the velvet rope tightens, VIP Nation upgrades, meet and greets and pre-show party sets with laminates and exclusive gifts turn proximity into a premium, packaging the night like merch you can wear home. And when the bass falls to a heartbeat, he sells the quiet. Total meditation and the Soul Chakra capsule turn calm into a product. Guided sessions and wellness pieces that feel like quiet luxury. A soft landing after a loud night. One last image, the jeweled chalice, the infamous pimp cup, less SKU than scepter, a handheld crown that helped define the Crunk look and still reads like a victory lap in his palm. The ledger beyond real estate tallies clean. $50,000 grills, collectible shades, a stake in energy drinks, a winery, VIP experiences, and monetized mindfulness. A lifestyle that pays whether the volume roars or whispers. The story doesn't end with spotlights and a roaring yeah. It turns a corner into quieter rooms, where Lil Jon's personal life unfolds with the pulse of a heart monitor. Steady, complicated, and very human. For nearly 2 decades, he shared a life with Nicole Smith, the partner who stood with him long before the world turned Crunk. They welcomed Nathan in 1998 and married in 2004 in Puerto Rico, building a home that felt like soundproofing from the industry's noise. After 18 years, they chose an amicable separation in 2022. No fireworks, just a mutual step into different lanes while keeping family first. Parenthood kept them linked like 2 hands on the same fader. Nathan, DJ Young Slade, followed his father's path, graduated NYU, and began shaping a career of his own. Then February 2026 arrived like a sudden silence. At 27, Nathan was found deceased after being reported missing, leaving both parents heartbroken and devastated in a joint statement. Life, restless as a snare roll, kept moving. After the split, Lil Jon found love with Jamila Sozada, reality TV figure, healthcare professional, entrepreneur, beginning quietly in 2023 and coming into view after her 2024 pregnancy reveal. In November 2024, they welcomed their daughter, Nahara, and the following Thanksgiving they shared warm birthday gratitude, proof of a softer chapter. Like dim lights after a long set, the public gaze wasn't always kind. When the relationship went wide, backlash swirled. Misreadings and rumors claiming he'd left his black wife for a white woman. In fact, Jamila is Iranian American, and their relationship began after his amicable divorce. Online storms said more about culture wars than about their timeline. To close this chapter, here's the controversy, clean and clear. When Lil Jon went public with Jamila Sozada and their daughter, timelines flared like strobes, accusations of swirling, claims he'd left his black wife for a white woman. In reality, Jamila is Iranian American, and Jon's split from Nicole came before the new relationship, proof that the uproar was more about optics than chronology, more smoke than fire. On the business side, the volume got louder. He confronted Live Nation over the Lovers and Friends festival name, linked to his 2004 hit. After the event marched on without him, his attorney blasted the usage as predatory and misleading to fans, and Jon warned he'd seek injunctions and damages if necessary. A legal bass drop aimed squarely at a corporate giant. Bottom line, the public tried to remix his love life. A powerhouse tried to remix his credits. He answered both, one with quiet facts, the other with legal fire. And that's our cut on the king of Crunk's high-end orbit. From iced out grins that hit like flashbulbs to signature shades that wear like medals. From boardroom plays, energy, wine, wellness, to velvet rope moments fans pay to enter. Lil Jon's luxury isn't a shopping spree, it's a system. A beat he owns. Build to launch, to scale, to evolve. He didn't just ride the wave, he licensed it, bottled it, and sold the VIP. And when the lights drop, the portfolio keeps humming like a bass line that never lets the room go. If this deep dive into Jon's Lux blueprint got you inspired, smash that like, drop your favorite Lil Jon flex in the comments, and subscribe for more A-list lifestyle breakdowns. Got a mogul you want next? Type the name, we read everything. Stay smart, stay loud, stay legendary. Okay.